Welcome to another Risk Global Domination game. This is the 4-player fixed card match which is being played with my subscribers. Red and blue are intermediates and the orange player is a beginner rank player. Settings: Alliance is on, balance blitz dice rolls in 60 seconds per turn. This time the most of troops I've got in South America, so obviously I will be going for it and having the advantage by being the first player who captures a continent. Later on, with other players getting continents to my advantage will be gone, but at least I might stay as the strongest player, assuming nobody successfully holds a big continent. But after capturing South America I won't be just simply turtling and doing nothing waiting till others capture some continents and my advantage being gone. No, I will try to expand to increase my advantage even more, if not capturing another continent, then at least getting some more territories to increase my territorial troop bonus, but for now to expand to North America seems as the most reasonable next continent choice, with the blue and orange players both trying to get Australia it seems, and with the red player obviously going for Africa. Another continent which nobody goes for is Europe, but with it having 4 borders and being extremely hard to hold, I don't think I would be successfully able to hold it at all. With me already having South America, nobody would want to let me hold it at all. And so do North America as well, but when it comes to North America it's connected with South America, so after capturing both of the Americas it would still be 3 borders or the same number of borders as for North America alone. While if I captured Europe, then it would be 4 additional borders I have to protect, and combining them with South American borders it would be even 6 borders which I would have to guard. So North America next to South America definitely sounds as a better continent choice than Europe, twice as less borders, and even with my opponents not wanting to let me hold it, I could still potentially hold it having enough troops. While to protect 6 borders with Europe wouldn't really be possible, so unless all 3 of my opponents would totally destroy each other, but it's very unlikely in a subscriber's game, so I don't think that's happening. Anyways, I wanted to be friendly to the red player and let him capture and hold Africa, but since he started adding some troops to North America to prevent me from capturing it, I decided to change my plan and act unfriendly towards the red player as well, instead of letting him simply capture Africa, bringing some of my troops into it, so I would prevent him from capturing a continent as well. And actually it might be even better for me with the orange and blue players still looking forward to get Australia as their main goal, intimidating each other so nobody of them would be brave enough to crush my 5 troops and completely capture it. So with me being the only player who holds a continent for now, I think I can take the advantage of that. So yeah, no Africa for the red player. To be honest, it's so good for me to have these 5 troops in Australia, with both of them blue and orange wanting to get Australia. Nobody of them is going to crush these 5 troops of mine because that person would just increase their opponent's chance of getting Australia for himself. As if the orange player crushes them, then the blue player could end up of having enough troops to wipe the orange player from Australia out, and if the blue player crushes these 5 troops, then he would still need to crush a big army of the orange player, and that could end up both of them destroying each other with another player sneaking into Australia. So since these 5 Australian troops of mine are preventing orange and blue getting Australia, I think I will just continue keeping them there. I don't want to waste them as then it might give a chance for one of these players to finally go for Australia, so whichever player ends up of capturing Australia, he will have to crush these troops. To be honest, if I were blue, then I would just leave Australia to the orange player, as crushing the orange player's biggest army could really make them both very weak and maybe even barely alive. So then I guess at least one of them could get easily eliminated for sure. Anyways, while the blue and orange both were focusing on Australia, the red player has made a great job to preventing me from becoming too strong. I was trying to increase my territorial troop bonus by capturing a lot of territories, but he was just recapturing them. Also I tried going for North America, but then the red player put some more troops into it. And of course the orange player prevented me from capturing North America by having a bigger army in here as well, as while I could have considered crushing the red player's army, there would still have been the orange player's army, so that made me be unreasonable to continue going for North America. On the other hand, while the red player was trying to prevent me from becoming too strong and helping to sustain the balance of the game with the blue and orange players not having any continents, he made himself to be my biggest enemy, the player which I want to be eliminated the most. As obviously with the blue and orange players mostly focusing on Australia and being neutral towards me, it makes the most sense for me to try getting rid of the player who was targeting me. So with the blue player finally letting the orange player capture Australia and moving towards me, I decided to send the alliance request to him, which he fortunately accepted. I told him to attack the red player, and now it's really up to him what to do, whether he wants to help me, the stronger player, to eliminate the weaker player, or actually appreciating the red player's efforts to sustain the balance of the game and prevent me from becoming too strong while he and orange were focused on Australia so I wouldn't have gotten a huge advantage, help the red player out to destroy me. And as you can see, it seems he has chosen my side over the red player's one. So what can I say, is so far so good, guys. I have no idea if the red player tried sending the alliance request to the blue player or not, but if he didn't, then I think it was quite a mistake, because with the blue player joining me, I think I should get rid of the red player easily, so unless the blue player just pretends to be my ally just to hit me in a crucial moment. But even with the blue player deciding to be my loyal ally, the red player could still potentially trying to counterattack that by allying with the orange player. So then it would be 2 versus 2 situation. Me and blue versus red and orange. With me and orange having 2 troop continents and with the blue and red being no continent players. The 2 different alliances fighting each other until one of the players is eliminated. But yeah, currently it might be too late for that, with the red player becoming so weaker than anybody else, so even with the orange player joining his side, he would still be eliminated first. So I think currently there's no way for the red player to get out from the losing situation. So unless 2 of his opponents suddenly starts targeting another opponent. But to take that risk for someone when we could just simply eliminate the red player and guarantee for themselves to be in a 3-player situation, probably wouldn't be very wise, and also it could prolong the game. And that's nice, the red player has just been eliminated from the game. The orange player seemed to be more about a neutral player all of this time, so it was kinda unexpected for me to seeing him go for red. But don't get me wrong, it's good. We finally got rid of the 4th player who is not really needed in the game for the balance of the game to be sustained, and when it comes to orange, he still kept being one of the strongest players. Well, at this point all of us are pretty much equally strong. So now I think it can mostly come about the alliances or who decides to attack whom. As you can see, I'm only allied with a blue player, so I think it makes the most sense to stick in the alliance with him, at least for now. Also it can be much easier to team up on the Australian players, they get their army on Siam blocked, and then you and your ally can let each other hold big continents, and then properly guarding against the Australian player start crushing some troops into him, in the way that it would be equally worth for you and your ally, so that's another reason for me to go after orange then blue. The blue player told me that he's sorry but that he needs to attack my territory, so I assumed he wanted to tell me to let him capture Africa, so this is why I moved out my biggest army out from it to South America. But after all he decided to go for Europe and not even touch Africa at all. So maybe this is why he said oops after saying he needs to attack my territory. He might send that accidentally. I mean either that, or he was thinking that he was sending the attack request for the orange player to attack me, but actually didn't realize that he was on my profile, so with him tapping on my avatar it was said to me that he needs to attack my territory. After all, it's possible that he is allied with the orange player as well. The orange player didn't invade him into unguarded Europe. But either way I want to see if something works out for mine and blue's alliance, so I captured Africa, moving my army out from Brazil to the Middle East so I would be properly able to guard against orange in case the blue player guards both of his borders from the orange player as well. So with me not guarding against blue, it was really a decision point for the blue player to decide whether he wants to continue teaming up with me, or he betrays me attacking into my continents and at the same time might even taking South America from me. But as you can see, for now fortunately to me he is sticking in the alliance with me, at least for now. he still didn't move out his biggest army to Ukraine to properly guard against the orange player, so then we would be able to properly team up on him getting a lot of troops and properly guarding our continents against orange, so he wouldn't be able to break through them without breaking the balance of the game. As currently the orange player could obviously break through our continents moving out from Australia and avoid us crushing our troops into him so easily. So anyways, if the blue player hasn't been sure yet what I want to do, now after me crushing some troops into the orange player's army, it should be obvious for the blue player assuming he had watched other subscriber games uploaded to the channel. So let's see what the blue player decides to do. And as you can see, luckily he decides to follow my plan and start crushing some of his troops into the orange player as well, then fortifying his biggest army to Ukraine so the orange player wouldn't be able to invade us. At least when it comes from that side, the orange player could still invade blue through Greenland after trading in a set or fortifying some more troops to North America. So as you can see, it's a very tough situation for the orange player right now. He has to come up with something good or otherwise the game will be over for him. The Australian turtle strategy probably isn't going to work out well here. By just simply putting the troops on Siam, every turn it's going to give more and more disadvantage to him. But I mean, there's always a possibility that me and blue suddenly start fighting each other, so with each turn getting weaker and weaker the orange player isn't totally doomed to lose the game, even though currently he has the worst odds to win the game. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not trying to get down having quite fewer troops than the blue player, hoping that the blue player makes a mistake and crushes some more troops into the orange player giving me a big advantage, but as you can see the blue player is being very wise with his attacks as well as me, and doesn't give me away the game so easily like I wanted to potentially expect. But no problem, little by little we are still keep weakening orange and sooner or later one of us will be able to take him out, either that or successfully betray each other getting the advantage over the another one. Also, as you probably noticed, I have never fully captured North America. This is because that the blue player wouldn't betray me starting to attacking me. I mean, as I wouldn't like for the blue player to capture another continent and start getting quite more troops, in the same way the blue player wouldn't like for me as well, so this is why I'm not capturing it, because I would like that all of our attention would stick being towards attacking the orange player. But how I'm kinda taking the advantage of this situation is that by having quite more territories, I get more troops than the blue player each turn, and while that doesn't that much matter because we're still crushing our troops into the orange player in the way that nobody of us would get a lot of advantage, it might favor me in that turn when I decide to betray the blue player. But where is the disadvantage of having quite more territories is that one big army has a huge advantage against the same number of troops distributed in a bunch of territories made of ones, as you lose no troops capturing these territories of ones. So when I and blue end up of having the same number of troops and cards, the blue player actually has the advantage over me. And of course I'm not even mentioning the fact that my secondary army is being blocked while the blue player's one is unleashed, so that's another disadvantage for me, but on the other hand I want to still keep guarding South America as otherwise the orange player could invade it. I could potentially capture North America and then put that army on Alaska, but then I wouldn't be guaranteed that instead of only invading me to North America, the blue player wouldn't start attacking me quite more and stopping to be my ally. So anyways, I think it's potentially the time when it might be worth taking the orange player out for 4 cards and then attacking blue. I mean, I'm not totally sure, but it seems for me that it should be more or less equal endgame. Well, unfortunately to me I forgot to switch from the attack limit function when attacking the orange player's biggest army, so it cost me 4 extra troops, but not minding that I still decided to continue going for orange. I see that I won't be able to invade blue with my Asian army, so I've just added these 5 troops on North Africa just to make sure that Europe will get invaded. But yeah guys, after taking the orange player out and making all of these attacks, to be honest I don't really like my situation too much. I think the blue player has a big advantage here, and especially if he gets a very good blitz roll crushing my army first, getting the attacker's advantage. And to be honest, if lucky enough, he might even be able to take me in a single turn out since I wasn't able to trade another set in. But anyways, let's hope for the best. I put my army in the territory in which it would be harder for blue to crush my army than usual. He could even end up cutting some of my territories from himself. But that's great. The blue player, luckily for me, didn't try crushing my biggest army and actually has chosen the route in which he even ended up blocking my army from himself. So maybe I will take the advantage of that. And obviously I was lucky enough that the blue player wasn't really fast capturing the territories that led me getting a few more troops. So if he hasn't turned the camera animations in the settings off yet, then he should definitely do it right now, as the speed sometimes can be a very important factor when it comes to the endgames. So what you can see I did in this turn is I captured as many territories with my biggest army as possible in the way that the blue player's armies would stay from my biggest army cut off. I think it's better to not capture a few more territories rather than unleashing your opponent's biggest armies and letting him recapture even more of them. Also, I left 5 troops on Brazil, so without the blue player getting good manual rolls or a blitz roll, he wouldn't be able to invade South America. But as you saw, the blue player didn't even try, and that's good for me. Also, another good thing is that the blue player didn't capture Australia when along using his biggest army capturing the Asian territories. And also it's good that he left his 3 troops on Japan instead of using the route in which he wouldn't have had to leave any 3 troops behind. So unless he had a specific reason for that. Anyways, I thought it was close to GG, but apparently the blue player unexpectedly had a 10 troops set at 3 cards. So maybe the game isn't over yet, even though I think I have the advantage. He's just made a mistake by not totally using his troops to capturing the territories, as it led me getting some extra troops. And also I think I made a very smart move with Australia here, which led me to successfully holding it. And by seeing that the blue player is in a huge disadvantage, I think he has just given up. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then I would recommend watching some of these out as well.